What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video on my channel. This video, I'm going to be re-watching my win at the DGPT event in 2023, the Mid-America Open, and just kind of giving you my my reaction, my thoughts as I'm playing. It's still a memory that I have very, very, very vividly in my head. Just it's a moment I'll never forget. So let's just start it right up. I'm going to play the hole 18 and then the playoff hole. So going into 18, I am one stroke back. I have the box. It's down to me and Gannon Burr, and let's see how it plays out. So I'm throwing my straight green drone on this hole, just throwing it pretty hard and turned it a little bit too much. I knew I made it out the gap. And I remember telling myself it looked like it was kind of close to that tree, so couldn't really tell from way back up the tee pad just how bad it was, but I knew I'd at least put myself on the fairway somewhere and it's going to give myself a chance. I remember that Gannon, I think the last 3 or 4 holes, had been throwing forehands. And then he switched to this. I mean, I don't think he would throw a forehand on this hole, but he's going backhand after not throwing a backhand at a couple holes. He also kind of turns it over a little bit, but he trickles down that hill, which is pretty important for flat footing. And yeah, he's definitely at a better spot than me. So I am first to throw on our second shot here, and I walk up to it, and yeah, I'm like shaking my head. I'm like, gosh, this lie just sucks. And I'm thinking if I lay up, best chance is probably gonna get a par if I like lay up before the creek. And I'm like, I don't think Gannon's gonna bogey, so I have to send it over the creek. And so I pull a flippy driver because I know I need some speed to get it over the creek, and I know I'm not going to be able to get full power. So I basically, I'm telling myself right now that if I break my hand on this tree, it's the last hole of the tournament. So whatever, you gotta go down swinging. Right about here, I knew it was absolutely perfect. Once it got that little tilt over and started drifting to the right, I knew it was perfect. So happy I didn't hit my hand on the tree. And yeah, one of my best shots of my entire life, to be honest. Just the circumstances, the difficulty, all the pressure. Yeah. Saw a green flag and was super happy. Here's the other angle of it. That's a force, a glow force that gets that little drift over to the right. I probably only had like 50% of power on it. And like I was saying before, he was throwing forehands on like holes 14, 15, 16. I can't remember what he did on 17, but he had kind of pulled them a little bit and weren't his best forehands. So, I mean, I really wasn't thinking that at the time here, but when he released this and pulled it into the trees out of bounds, I thought that I won. Like right out of his hand, I said I won in my head. But he, kind of hard to see on the video, but he hits the trees and kicks about 50 feet directly right back into the inbounds fairway. And when he kicks over and is safe, I remember thinking to myself, maybe it's not my time. Maybe it's not my time to win. Because that was honestly one of the luckiest breaks I've ever seen. It was not a good shot, but it was just the most incredibly lucky break. If he doesn't get that kick, he's going to get a bogey at best, and I can just play for the par for a playoff spot, or I'm in a pretty good spot just to get a birdie and win. So here's Gannon's third shot. Landed just kind of in the trees, probably 275 or 300 feet to the pin. going with the forehand. I'm standing right behind him, checking out his angle that he's lining up. He's throwing a big flex over shot, finish to the right. I don't know if he pulled that or not, but he clips the tree, gets another really big kick, and barely lands safe. And when that one landed safe after his previous shot had landed safe, I was like, man, it's not my time. I don't know. It's just not my time. But I knew he wasn't going to get a birdie from there. That's like a probably 75-foot obstructed putt, so definitely not in birdie range for him. So I knew that I at least controlled my own destiny as far as getting it to the playoff. So here's where my third shot ended up. Or this is my third shot. I actually have a pretty decent sized gap. Comfortable with hitting it. I had thrown this exact shot in round one and parked it. So I was feeling pretty good. Just throwing a flippy putter. Letting the putter turn. Put it about 10 feet. And super happy. I kind of knew that tap-in was going to force a playoff. Gannon wasn't going to make his putt. And we see it here from the reverse angle, or I guess behind me. Yeah, just decent sized gap. Just put it up there. Gave it enough height to get over the creek. Super happy. Walking up to my tap-in. And I remember thinking, do not miss this. It's only about 10 feet, but I'd be lying if I said I hadn't missed a 10-footer before. Yep. Tapped it in. Off to the playoff. Here we go. First shot of the playoff. I am up first. I won the coin toss. Throwing a nuke here. Knew I hit the gap. Was super happy. Cleared the creek. And I'd actually turned around before I could see my disc get that little kick. And that little kick was really, really helpful because that's exactly where I want to be. So I can go over the creek on my second shot. So I've done my job. Gannon, one of the best throwers in the game, so didn't really think he was going to screw up this putt at all, or this shot. Yeah, just a little classic baby flex from Gannon. Absolutely perfect. Puts it about 10 feet ahead of me. So here, I'm throwing a Big Z Onyx. Very, very new one, so really overstable. I knew I just had to give it height, and the disc was going to fade. So, again, right out of the hand, very happy with it. Knew I was going to be in a good spot as long as I wasn't tucked against a tree or anything weird. Gannon lining up a forehand. Pretty stock shot for him. Was kind of surprised he didn't go over the creek, but I feel like that might be a little easier shot, but this might be slightly safer. You can't really screw up this shot, so he puts it a little bit behind me, so he's going to be up next. Gannon's probably 220. He's got his overstable approach disc, something he's really, really good with, and puts it 20 feet maybe. I knew he was in a good spot, and I had to match him. So I walked up, and I remember thinking, all right, I got a pretty good line, and there's nothing really in my way as far as a tree trunk, but there's a tiny little limb that is right at the height that I want to throw my disc. So I said I have to go over it. I'd rather go over it than come up short. And I clipped it, and I thought I was going to drop into the creek, but luckily I had enough pace on it. You can see on my face there I'm a little relieved, but end result was good. And now we're walking up to the green for our putts. So we get to the green. Gannon's 20 feet, like I said. I'm parked. I'm already thinking about hole number 2 because Gannon is probably the best putter in the entire world. And he short-armed it and just kind of splashes out. And I couldn't believe it at first. And then I remember thinking, holy crap, I just won. And so, yep, just walking up there, making sure I don't foot fault. But yeah, super awesome to win in my home state in front of a lot of people that I know. My dad was on the bag. Yeah, definitely a moment I've watched a handful of times since, and hopefully I get to relive a moment like this someday with another big win on the DGPT someday. Fun fact, I felt horrible this whole tournament. As in, I thought I was sick. I thought I had COVID. I went to go get COVID tested. Came out negative. I got strep tested. Came out negative. I felt like death. I was awake hardly at all. Basically like an hour before my round. And right when I got home from my round, I was sleeping. And I was amazed that I could stay in it mentally for feeling so poorly. But yeah, then I do an interview here, and yeah, just awesome moment for me. Definitely is the most, probably my most fond memory of my career, and just loved every minute of that. Hopefully I get to do it again. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one. Happy holidays.